When you select a stitch, it will automatically set a stitch length, a width, and a needle position for you. For example, in our straight stitch, stitch 2, our stitch length is 2.5. Now that's determined because of the sewing advisor that we have fabric B, which is a woven medium fabric. If I change that to a lighter weight fabric, the stitch length will be adjusted for me. Yes, on a lighter weight fabric, you want to use a shorter stitch length, and a thicker fabric, a longer stitch length. So definitely use your sewing advisor if you're not sure what the setting should be. But as you change from stitch to stitch, for example, if we go to a zigzag, stitch number 11, we will have both length and width. So as we change it, you'll notice that your numbers turn from black to red. Once they're red, that means you have changed it off the default setting. So if I make it a little wider and a little longer, the picture changes and the increments are shown right here on the screen. Now, just so you know, a quick way to clear that out is instead of bumping it back to where you started and look for that black number, just reselect the stitch that you are working on and it will automatically clear out the settings that you have applied. Kind of take you back to a default setting. So anytime you move to a new stitch, it'll go back to what it was. I'll just pick a B medium woven fabric here. And once again, if I make my stitch length longer, I can do this while I'm sewing. So I can just keep touching it. The longest stitch length is 6.0. So it's a nice long stitch. Then if I am wanting to change, for example, a width, once again, I can make this wider as I'm sewing, and the maximum stitch width is 7.0. So it's really easy to change your settings around, and as soon as you leave the stitch, it will clear it out, and it'll go back to what it started at when you get back to the new stitch. So it's really easy to get around your machine, and once again, use your sewing advisor. So if I was doing a straight stitch and I was on another stitch somewhere else in my machine, all I'd have to do to get back to a straight stitch is touch technique number 1.